Hey Kamaru, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Farrah?
I'm doing good, thanks. It's been a while since I've last spoken to you, and there's been so much going on in the welterweight division. I wanted to get your thoughts. A lot of fight books are in the works. I mean, what's been going on with you personally?
Oh, not much. After my last fight, I had to heal up those injuries. I healed them up, and I've just been in the gym training. And the biggest thing with this fighting game is in order to find your groove and really improve and really build, you got to constantly stay active and keep fighting. And so once I got healed and I was in the gym all the whole time, and my manager's been working to try to get a fight, but it's been damn near impossible to get a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to get your thoughts on the matchups that have been kind of rumored or in the works. First of all, the rumor of RDA and Colby for the interim title. First of all, are you surprised that they're considering an interim title, considering that Woodley said he'd be back in July?
Yeah, I think that's it's what you see in the sport. If you don't play ball, if you don't do what is asked of you, or they want you to do, then they do whatever they can because they're the judge, the juror, and the executioner. They're gonna make their decision. So if Tyron's not willing to do whatever they want him to do, it's easy. They're just gonna go around him. I mean, let's be honest. That's completely absurd to make an interim belt when the champ says I can fight at this date. So
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. That doesn't make sense. I mean, if you look at someone like Connor, Connor is not given a date. Connor didn't give a date or anything. Connor just doesn't want to fight. Yeah, he said I'm not ready. So that's different than when a champ says I can fight at this day, especially when he was really active the year before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I think it's kind of their way of sticking it to him. But it's still, I mean, an interim belt. All that does is really give those two guys fighting more money.
Yeah.
All that does. That's really much all it does. I mean, it's not the real. Everyone knows they're not the real champ. So
I mean, do you feel like this is kind of like the WME era where we're labeling it as an interim title fight, putting it on a pay-per-view card that people have been feeling that isn't that strong is kind of their way of getting sales just because they're labeling it as a championship fight? Or do you see it as a glorified number one contender?
uh, it is. I don't know. It's I can't really speak on the WME aspect of it. But what I can say is you could look at it as kind of a glorified number one contender fight, but really I don't think it's. I mean, I have a lot of mixed feelings about it,
Uh,
but I guess it's a way of beefing up that card, that Brazil card. If you really look at the card, really it's Amanda Nunes on the card, and if a lot of people don't really know Raquel Pennington or know how good she is and talented she is, then that pay per view might not do well. So why not put kind of like the number one villain
yeah.
of Brazil right now, Kobe, back in there? Which I mean, as you could see a few months back, I asked for the fight. I said me and him
Yeah.
fight on that card, and that didn't happen. So it is what it is. I think it's kind of like their way of beefing up that card.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now Darren Till's rumored to fight Wonder Boy, and you guys have been going back and forth, and I thought it was a lock. Like when I saw you guys going back and forth on Twitter, then literally one day later they're announcing the rumor of Wonder Boy and Darren Till. So did that surprise you as well?
Yeah, that did. It kind of did, and it kind of didn't. It surprised me that Wonder Boy agreed to it. It didn't surprise me that I didn't get the fight because, like, let's be first of all, for all of this, like, this is not personal for me at all. Um, it's just all business. Like, some of the guys, like, I don't. There's really nobody in the welterweight division that I dislike except Kobe.
Yeah.
I like everybody, really, to be honest with you. I respect everybody
Yeah.
because they're fighters, and like especially Darren Till, he kind of put out a comment while we were going back and forth. He said something about um, that I was jealous of him or something like that, or something along those lines that alluded to that. And that's kind of one of those situations to where I would have liked to be talking to him face to face, so he can realize that it has nothing to do with me being jealous of him. It has everything to do with me feeling like I've put the work in, and I'm here. Why are the UFC just okay? We're gonna pick this guy to run with, to push, and really try to help build and get there as fast as we can,
Yeah.
as opposed to me being here for a while and putting in work, and not just me and myself, but other guys that are still in the division that have been putting in work. And so that's why I wanted to fight. He's a tough guy. He likes to fight, and honestly, I believe if it was up to him, we would fight. But it's not just up to him. Now in the game, the biggest problem is you have management teams. You have, and on top of that, now you have if the promotion is backing you like UFC is, they're not going to do anything to jeopardize that. They're not going to try to do that. They're going to try to do everything to keep it safe, keep it within striking distance for him to continue to keep that hype train going. So I that's one of the biggest reasons why I knew that fight wouldn't happen. But for Wonderboy accepting the fight, Wonderboy, last I heard, he was hurt.
Yeah.
He had some things going on with him. So, obviously the UFC did some things. I feel like they did some, I don't know for sure, but I feel like they did things to persuade that, which they can always do, whether it be money or whether it be anything else to kind of sweeten the pot to where Wonderboy's like, you know what? That fight doesn't look so bad now. You know what? I'm going to go out there and do my thing. And I honestly believe Wonderboy is capable of beating Darren Till. But that's a more favorable fight for Darren Till.
Do you feel because it's like won't go to the ground?
Yes, absolutely not. It won't go to. But you know what? To be honest with you, I still think Wonderboy wins the fight. But it's now you can see you can see the difference between Wonderboy and myself. Obviously, you've never seen Wonderboy ground game. Like no one's ever seen this ground game, and so. Now it's just a point. It's a point. Both of them are going to stand up and look at each other. Whoever can land a good, accurate shot and, might get the win, or one guy might outpoint the other. So, that's a more favorable matchup as opposed to someone like me who's going to make Darren Till work till he can't work anymore and potentially finish him or, have him finish me. So, it is what it is. It's kind of frustrating, but that's the nature of the game when you're in the UFC, I guess.
I mean, absolutely, because you've thrown your hat in to pretty much fight every guy in the division. I mean, why do you feel like none of these matchups have come into fruition? Normally, it's kind of rare to have a guy in the division that'll literally be like, I'll fight anybody and anywhere. It's not like you've been picky about which country or which day or anything like that.
Yeah, because, to be honest with you, like when I got into this sport, I didn't get into this because I couldn't do anything else. Like, no, fighting is my life. No, I didn't start with fighting. I was in school and I got into wrestling, and then I just loved competing so much. I took wrestling as high as I could, and this was the next outlet because I wanted to continue to compete. So I wanted to work hard at something and prove that I was the best at it within the confines of the rules. If I wanted to go do boxing, I could have went and did boxing, and I would have worked just as hard in boxing to be the best in the world as I could. And same thing here. So, I chose this sport, and by being and working as hard as I have, I've kind of built to the point. For me, it's I'm gonna win. This is a contest. This is a competition for me. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. And some of these other guys, everyone right nowadays in the division, they just want favorable matchups that kind of match their style to where they have a chance to win. If you look on paper, when my name comes up, they're like, shit, I can't really just stand there and outstrike the guy because he can take me down. I can't take him down. I can't really grapple with him on the ground. I can't try to push the pace and wear him out because he never gets tired. Shit, there's really no way for me to win this fight. So you know what? We're just going to pass on it because it's not like he's the superstar of the UFC to where, I just kind of shoot in the dark here. but they're just like, you know what? I don't want to take that chance of getting beat up. So I'm just going to find an easier fight to maybe make myself look good.
I see. And when you look at the rest of the division that aren't booked, because there have been a lot of bookings, also Santiago Ponzinibbio and Neil Magny, and you said you were offered Ponzinibbio, correct?
Yes. The thing was, I was actually offered Ponzinibbio like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like a week ago. And I talked to my coaches about it, and we went back and forth. It was kind of the toss-up. Santiago headline Chile or fight Neil Magny somewhere else. And so me and my coaches talked about it. My manager talked about it. And I said, you know what? I need to fight Ponzinibbio because I feel that he's a very aggressive striker. And now that I'm healthy, I really want to prove. And because of, a lot of people are forgetting, because of my last fight that I was injured and I had to do what I had to do to get the win, a lot of people are forgetting that the fight before, I knocked out a guy cold. I didn't take him down once. The fight before that, I fought a very talented Sean Strickland, who's 19 or 20-1. Only loss was a split decision to Santiago Ponzinibbio, and I had 2 10-8 rounds against him, if not 3. Yeah. And the fight before that was Wale Alves. I kept the fight standing the whole time and beat him up. And so people are forgetting that because of my last fight. So I really felt that Santiago was the guy that he had decent, pretty good takedown defense to where, this guy's going to keep it standing and I'm going to have the ability to showcase more of my striking and just really beat him up and get to finish it, basically put on a performance. And so I said, you know what? I want that fight. I'll take that fight. But what I felt was going to happen was that maybe he was going to try to double back and go Neil Magny route. So I said I want the fight, and then they announced the Darren Till. The day I said I wanted the fight, my manager said okay. And then they announced the Darren Till fight, and I've already asked for Darren Till before because this wasn't our first back and forth. We had a back and forth a few months back, and I asked for him, and I was told Dana said no. Dana has plans for him, so I already know that was out of the question. But I said, you know what? I'm still going to take a shot at the dart, and I said something to him because he's a guy that people are really looking at, that he's unstoppable because he's beat one guy. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather derail that train than Ponzinibbio, but I still would like to fight Ponzinibbio. So me and Darren Till just kind of had words, but that was it. I've already said yes to the Ponzinibbio fight. And then a couple of days later, the UFC gets back to us and says, yeah, Ponzinibbio said that, no, he doesn't want that fight. So I'm like, oh, really? What? So what am I supposed to do now? I've asked for, and this is years and years back. They say, oh, well, after your fight, they'll give you the mic. Ask for whoever you want. I fought and I asked for Ponzinibbio. No, not Ponzinibbio. I asked for Damian Maia. It didn't happen. Damian Maia told me, he tweeted the next day, okay, let's see you get up in the top 10 and then we'll see. We'll make it happen. I'm in the top 10. Still not happening. I asked for Neil Magny. Didn't happen. He said no. I asked for RDA after Sergio Moraes. Didn't happen. I asked for so it's not happening. I asked for Colby Covington. Didn't happen. So I asked for these guys, but these guys are turning down the fights, and it's looking like and the funny part is everyone uses the same excuse. They say, oh, he hasn't fought anybody in the top 10, so I don't want to be the guy to fight him. Well, how am I supposed to fight anyone in the top 10 if everybody in the top 10 says no?
Yeah.
And another thing, what I want to clarify too is, we tweet another tweet the other day. My manager tweeted something about the guys that said no because we were frustrated because everybody kept saying no, and Masvidal's name was in there. Mm-hmm. And the thing is Masvidal got in his feelings and was like, He said a bunch of crap. You know, like I would love to fight Masvidal, but Masvidal is kind of one of the guys too in the division that I actually do. I like. I have nothing against him. I like Masvidal. I would still like to fight him, but I like Masvidal. So he took that personal because we were offered the fight, and we said yeah, but for whatever reason he said no. But people are mistaking that as me saying that Masvidal was scared or anything like that. I never said Masvidal was scared. If it was up to everyone, no. If it was up to Masvidal, I'm sure Masvidal himself would take the fight. But it's bigger forces than just Masvidal. He has a management team. He's coming off of 2 losses, so I can understand them saying, you know what? No, that's not the easiest fight right now. Let's get back in the win column or something like that. Or maybe he was injured and said that he didn't want to fight because obviously he's injured. So especially since Darren Till said, the opportunity for Darren Till asked him to fight in May. He said, no, I won't be ready till July. So I can understand why he would say no or why they would say no. But he's saying, oh, the fight was never offered to us. We never turned him down. That's false. That's false. No one said that you were scared. We're just saying we were offered the fight. We accepted. They came back and said that they declined for whatever reason. Maybe he was hurt, whatever. That's fine. But no one's saying that he.
Are you still there? Sorry, you're cutting up.
Hello?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, were you offered Masvidal for a specific date or just the fight?
We was offered. Let me see, what date was that? This is the thing. We wanted to fight before May.
Okay.
So we've been trying to get a fight before May or May at the latest May. We wanted to get a fight, and so that's what we've been working for, and that's why we were offered that fight, and unfortunately they came back and said no. Obviously, Masvidal is not ready. He said he's not ready till July to fight. So I can see them saying no, he's not ready because he's doing something or he's hurt or he's taking time off. I get that, but I don't know the specific day. I don't think we were given a specific day, but I know we were looking at something before the end of May.
All right, so when you look now, I mean, of course I can understand how frustrating the situation is for you because even your last fight, a lot of people were kind of like outraged, like, how would you take this fight with Emil Mek? You deserve a ranked opponent, all that. Of course, you're not going to want to do that again, right? I mean, you're at a point, you're in the top 10. You're having a very tough time getting somebody to agree to fight you. So what now? Like, when you look at kind of like the rankings, you said Damian Maia, no one's quite sure what's going on with him, if he's healthy or when he'd like to fight. Masvidal doesn't want to return until July. For you, like, would you feel like, I know it's frustrating, but what do you do? Do you kind of like wait for Masvidal in July? Do you try to get Damian Maia? What do you ideally want to do in terms of date and opponent from what's available?
What I would like to do, ideally, I would like Damian Maia. He's higher ranked, and he's I believe a better resume. Damian Maia's beat Masvidal, so I would rather Damian Maia. And plus, Damian Maia is also someone that opposes enough danger to where he's going to keep me standing, keep the fight standing. And so, that's I want the dangerous guys, the guys that people don't think, that a lot of people don't want to fight. Damian Maia was that guy for a long time. And, that's the test that I want. And I would rather have that fight, but if not, I have no choice. They're pretty much leaving me with no choice, that I have to pretty much take anything. And that's the only reason that whole my last fight happened. I could have pulled out of my last fight because I was really injured going into the fight. But the opponent was running his mouth, saying a lot of things. Oh, you're trying to duck me and this and that. Which, at the end of the day, really made no sense. I had every reason to. I've been in the UFC. I've proven myself. He's not proven himself. He had 1 win in the UFC. And I could have said no to the fight, but he was the only guy at that point that was willing to step up and fight me. So I had no choice but to take him. And, now I'm kind of being placed in the same situation. But I really don't think that it's wise for me to continue to just fight the guys that are below me or the guys that won't elevate me up in the rankings, because I didn't get into this just for fighting or for making money. I got into this to move up, to elevate, and become the champion one day. And so I'm at the point where if the fights aren't going to do that to help me get there, then they really don't make much sense for me.
Absolutely. And I want to do one last thing before I let you go. I kind of want to look at the top 10/12 of the welterweight division. I want you to give me your thoughts. Like, I'll just give you a name, kind of like what Megan Oliva did with Khabib when she interviewed him on the exchange. So kind of give you a name and you give me your thoughts on what you think of them.
Okay.
All right, Tyron Woodley.
Champion. Pretty good champion.
Wonder Boy.
Very talented specialist.
Dos Anjos.
Dos Anjos is good fighter.
All right, Colby Covington.
I don't. What should I say about Kobe? I would have to say, shit. I guess he's. I don't. I mean, obviously, I can call him different things, but but I just think that he's playing a role. He's just he's actor.
Actor. Robbie Lawler.
Fighter.
Damian Maia.
BJJ.
Or next. Say next. Maia's next. Jorge Masvidal.
Game. He's game. It's game bread.
Game bread, yeah. Darren Till.
Young Bull.
Neil Magny.
Dang, what do you say about Neil Magny? Neil Magny. He's just there, man, just getting fights. He's just there, fighting. Just fighting anybody, anytime, anywhere, I guess. Except me. I would say he's just, man, Neil Magny's just he's just the fill-in. He's just a fill-in fighter.
All right, Ponzinibbio.
Oh, Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio is just, I guess, tough fighter. He's tough.
Well, now when I'm looking at the people that are kind of like ranked 11 to 15, there are guys like Cowboy and, well, there's the winner, like Carlos Condit's booked to fight Matt Brown. There's Gunnar Nelson as well. Are those matchups like, I mean, of course they'd be better than an unranked opponent, right? I mean, they're solid names. Obviously, Cowboy is a great name, like a veteran in the sport. Would you resort to those should you not get somebody ranked above you?
I would have no choice to, obviously, either I'm going to have to wait it out for these guys to fight each other and then just take a loser or a winner, whoever they decide to, if at that point they're willing to agree to fight me, or I'm going to have to resort to any one of them. I would prefer, Cowboy, because, it's still Cowboy. He still has that stamp of approval, but I think I would have a hard time getting him to agree to the fight. And also, Gunnar Nelson, I mean, he was just flatlined his last fight. Like, it's really hard to come back from that. Like, that last one was bad. And so, I mean, I can go in and fight Gunnar, but then it's, at this point I'm kind of at a tough place where it's, if I don't go out there and just literally kill the guy in the first minute, then it's I really feel like nothing else that I do will be good enough because I'm so dominant. I've been so dominant to where I've made the fights look so easy to where people are just like, nah, that guy's boring because he just does it. Just dominates guys and wins, and that's boring. Same thing they say about Mayweather. Mayweather did everything to just he won fights easily, made them all look easy, and everyone's like, oh, that's boring, that's boring, that's boring. People want to see you get hurt. People want to see you get beaten a little bit touched to where it looks like a fight, as opposed to you just dominating and running over guys. People want to see that, and if they don't see it, then it's boring to them.
Absolutely. Well, Kamaru, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. I really hope that we do hear something in terms of a fight announcement within this week, because it seems like the whole welterweight division's been booked this week. So I really hope we hear something from you this week or in the coming weeks. It's a very frustrating situation to be. I think, unfortunately for you, you got to be a little bit patient instead of like jumping into something. I know you want to fight, but it's kind of one of those things where I feel like everybody else in the division has just kind of been waiting until they get what they want. So maybe we'll hear from Damian Maia soon and see what will happen with that.
I hope so. I mean, that's a fight that I wanted for a long time, even when nobody else wanted it. So hopefully that eventually does materialize and it happens.
Do you have a target date, like a preferred date that you would want to fight Maia?
It doesn't matter how from now. I mean, that's the thing people don't understand. Like, I'm in the gym the whole time. I'm in fight shape now. If I had to fight him in 3 weeks, I could fight him in 3 weeks. And so, I don't mind.
That would have been a nice addition for the Rio card, the UFC 224. I feel like if there was anything that was going to get Maia to do it, perhaps it would have been that.
That's what I originally thought, and that's what I originally asked for. But chances are that probably won't come to fruition.
All right. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe. Do you know if he's aware that you want to fight him? I mean, I know he's not a social media guy, but has his management been involved? Is there a process to this, or is this you just right now vocalizing that you want to fight him?
Oh, he's aware. They're all aware. To me, everyone knows. I mean, and this is, to be honest, this is the part that sucks about it is I'm not a big social media guy. Like I really am not. I really hate it. I do it because it's almost necessary nowadays. You kind of have to do it. Yeah. And so with that being said, that it's every time that I have to, like, especially the other day when I had a little back and forth with Darren Till, I was exhausted after that because just mentally draining. Because that's usually not how I like to spend my energy. And so it's after that, because all the fans get involved when you guys are tweeting back and forth, and you're kind of forced to read their comments and waiting on what the guy's gonna say back, and after that it's exhausting, and I really hate being on social media having to talk. I didn't get into this because of that. I didn't get into this to be a star or anything. I got into this to fight and get to the top and be the best. So yeah, I hate doing those social media crap, but I understand nowadays that's kind of the only way for you to do it, is to get the fans to care whether they like you or whether they hate you or whether they want you, as long as they care about it. It's the WME way, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. Well, honestly, I have hope that we're going to hear something from you soon in terms of a fight announcement. Hopefully a guy in the top 10, because you've definitely deserved it. Like you said, they're going to keep saying you don't deserve a top 10 guy when no top 10 guy is going to want to fight you. So there has to be somebody that will take the fight, and then people will be able to see. But I really do hope you get the fight soon, and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Farrah.
Right.
Thank you.
Have a good one.